Hey, I'm Dr. Juan Valdez with Reasons for Hope, and here we go again. Reasons why I'm not an atheist. If you missed last week's program, basically I argued that atheists are always arguing and telling us that if we read their material, if we understand the arguments, then we will become an atheist. Or if we read the Bible, we'll become an atheist. In other words, we're not atheists because we haven't really looked into atheism. So let me give you, the reason I gave you last week is that I'm not an atheist because it's philosophically untenable. Well, let me give you another reason why I'm not an atheist. Reason number 2 is because it is scientifically absurd to be an atheist. I'll say it again. It is scientifically absurd to be an atheist. Science points to an intelligent creator. Everything that science discovers, everything, reveals incredibly complex levels of structure, organization, and purpose. Think about DNA, the building blocks of life, a language, 3 billion characters, organized with semantics and syntax and everything of a language, and it's the building instructions for life. The complexity of the cell, which is the simplest element of life, is nothing but simple. It's everything but simple. I should say it's everything but simple. The cell, the complexity of the cell points to an engineer that is beyond genius. And even some skeptics will admit to that. So it is scientifically absurd. Now, another source of conviction. Listen to this quote, and then I'll tell you who said it. Well, I'll tell you up ahead. Charles Darwin said this. Okay, interestingly, Darwin is one that people hide behind to say that you can be an intellectually fulfilled atheist thanks to Darwin. Well, why don't we read Darwin and see what he had to say about the existence of God? Listen to the direct quote from Darwin. He says, quote, "Another source of conviction in the existence of God, connected with reason and not with feelings, impresses me as having much more weight. This follows from the extreme difficulty, or rather, he says, impossibility of conceiving this wonderful universe, including man and his capacity of looking far forward and far into futurity, or far backwards and far into futurity, as the result of blind chance or necessity. He says, when thus reflecting, I feel compelled to look for a first cause, having an intelligent mind in some degree analogous to that of man, and I deserve to be called a theist." You see, it's undeniable. Science points to God. It's undeniable. Now, in an atheist worldview, there cannot be structure, organization, or purpose in the natural world, because everything came about by random chance, and random chance produces chaos. Chaos is not orderly in any way, shape, or form. Any attempt to fall back, by the way, on the appearance of design, like is often found in the textbooks, fails epically. Why? Because if it appears to be design, it may very well be design. You're telling me here's something that looks design, it incredibly looks like it's designed, but it's not designed. Well, how do you know it's not designed? How do you know it's not designed? Oh, because God doesn't exist. And how do you know that? Well, we don't have to prove that. Back to that argument. You see, again, there's nothing, there's a leg to stand on. Here's Darwin again, 1873, quote, "The impossibility of conceiving that this grand and wondrous universe with our conscious selves arose through chance seems to me the chief argument for the existence of God." There you have it, from him himself. Now, if science is atheistic, as some of these guys would have you believe, then we wouldn't have any Christian scientists, or at least any scientists that believe in any kind of God or form of God or theism of any kind. Is that what we find in science? No, there's thousands of scientists, brilliant minds in the history of science that have been the names that are in our textbooks that believed in God. Newton, Isaac Newton, Galileo, Copernicus, Kepler, Bacon, Descartes, Pascal, Faraday, Maxwell, Leibniz. I mean, you name it, they're all Francis Collins, Louis Pasteur, Max Planck. The list is endless of scientists who also believe there is a God. Why? Because it points that way. Pasteur said it best. Pasteur said, "The more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator." He said, science brings men nearer to God. And then, well, some people will argue, well, we can't allow, creation or God or anything into the science classroom, because that would be the end of science. If God is the answer, we're going to stop looking for answers. I have one simple thing to say about this, because I've said a lot about the God of the gaps in the past. one simple thing to say. God is not the answer to every question. He is the reason why there is an answer. God is not the answer to every question. He's the reason why there is an answer to begin with. And so, one more quote from Darwin. I can't help myself, okay? Because he's the one people hide behind to say that you can be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. Here's Charles Darwin again. There is a grandeur, quote, there is a grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been originally breathed by the Creator into a few forms or into one, and that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed laws of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. So he's arguing, look, at least to begin everything, there must have been a creator. So you know what? Being an atheist is scientifically absurd. It really, really is. And you know, atheists are starting to come around a little bit, and they're trying to say, okay, we can't continue to say that it happened by chance. We can't continue to say that because we can't. So let's come up with another alternative. Aliens did it. Oh yeah, that's a good answer. They are intelligent. Because there's intelligence in what we see, so we can blame it on the aliens. They did it. There's no God. There's aliens that seeded life on this planet. And trust me, this is the view of many, many, many scientists today who would rather believe in aliens than believe in God. I would ask him, how did you come to the conclusion that there are aliens? How do you know that they're aliens? What evidence do you have? Oh, we don't have to. You don't have to prove it. Blind faith again? See, let me sum up the case. Okay, here's why I'm not an atheist. Reason number 2: it is scientifically absurd. Science does not invent the laws of nature. Science discovers them and is blown away by what they see, in nature, the order and the structure and everything about it. Everything that science discovers points to intelligent design. In an atheist worldview, there would be no structure, no order, nothing coming even close to what we see today as design. Therefore, to believe that God does not exist is scientifically absurd. I'll see you next week.